Hi everyone, I'm here with my dear friend Jayneen Sauders, author of, is it 17 books, Jay?
Yeah, 17 books, Leanne.
But we're going to be talking about 3 of them today. I've known Jay for, it was before you wrote Some Secrets. So,
Yeah.
hi
11
Jay.
years?
Yeah.
Hi, Leanne.
So Jay, how did you get into writing? Because you were an author before you wrote Some Secrets. So how did you get into writing books about protective education?
Well, first of all, I started writing books under the name J. Dale, which is my maiden name. I write children's readers. So I kind of knew how to write books because I've been writing readers for a very long time. I think I might have started maybe, 25 years ago or something. So I've been writing them. And so then, but I just, my kids were at school and I was on school council. And I went to school council and I'd actually edited a book by Professor Frida Briggs in my job as a sort of an editor and doing work in that space. And I thought, if ever I have kids, I'm going to teach them this stuff. I'm going to teach them how to protect their bodies. So I did have kids. I had 3 girls and I did teach this stuff. So then I went to the school council and I said, we should be doing this at school. We should be teaching them sexual abuse prevention education. And they all just sort of roll their eyes a little bit. And I kept getting put to the bottom of the agenda. And I was really annoyed. And you know me, Holly, and I can get a bit annoyed. So when
you would have persisted, because I
did persist. I didn't give up. So then I went home to my husband, Mark, and I said, I'm going to write a book because then someone might take notice of me. And I know how to write a book. That's my voice. So that's when I went home, basically, and I just started writing Some Secrets Should Never Be Kept. There it is. It's gorgeous. It is. I think it is still my favourite because it's written as a fairy tale, and fairy tales last and they go on forever, and they've always got a moral. So that was the vehicle I kind of used to get the message across about kids keeping their bodies safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I started. That's why I started. And it took a long time for that book to be noticed, though. As you know, it's been a long journey. Yeah.
Yes, nothing's ever quick. What I love about the book and why we've included it in our lesson plan, so of your 17 books, we sell 3 of them. And we love this one because, there are so many ways that you can use the book, because you can talk about consent because Lord Henry was tickling him and he didn't like it, and then he tickled his private parts and things like that. So, parents, it's not just to read to parents, it's great to be able to read a bit and then, talk about what could he have done and things like that. So, we're thrilled that we've included it in the lesson plans, and we're currently writing lesson plans for remote Aboriginal communities as well as our early years kit. So we'll be including it in that as well because it is just so, so versatile. So.
And fairy tales go across cultures as well,
Exactly.
it really is about that. And it's also age appropriate. So you actually never talk about the actual acts of sexual abuse. Look, why would you? Because you wouldn't, when you talk about water safety, you don't show graphic details, or when you talk about road safety, you don't. So it's very kind of, in a way, it's a gentle story. But for a child who's been sexually abused, this could be the thing that makes them disclose. But for a child who hasn't, it's just another story, and they feel a lot of empathy for little Sir Alfred. So, yeah.
And, the fact that, he couldn't tell his mum because in his head, he's thinking, oh, my mum will lose her job and things like that. So, you can talk about grooming, you can talk about, well, why didn't he tell his mum straight away and really tease that out. And in our lesson plans, that's what we've asked teachers to do, not just to read it, but to really unpack it with the children and use it as a, to really
tool.
Yeah. The other one we've included and we love is No Means No. So tell me the reasons why you write No Means No.
Well, there's a story behind that one. I was teaching think it was grade 1. And there was a little girl there. She must have been 6 or 7. And, you know, she was that little girl that all the boys want to follow around, want to touch, always want to cuddle her, touch her hair. And I said to her, you know, do you like this? Do you like these boys always touching you? She said, no, I don't. And I said, well, you have to say no. You know, I've taught my 3 daughters. You need to say no to that. I don't like this. And I still remember it. She just couldn't do it. She could not do it. I said, stand tall, legs slightly apart, hands on hips, and say no. And she couldn't do it. So I thought, wow, that's really, like, that is a powerful message to me, that a lot of young girls in particular just don't know how to be assertive and say no. That, you know, a lot of young girls are taught to sort of be quieter and be pleasers. Well, no, absolutely not. And if we teach no means no and body boundaries when children are quite young, then it's only going to make for assertive teenagers and adults.
Yeah.
So that's the message there, is to teach this kind of body boundaries, this assertiveness young, and then it will flow through into adult life. Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that you've got about grandparents, I'm in a lot of parent groups, and I see grandparents complaining that they shouldn't have to, you know, ask their grandchildren for a kiss or a cuddle and things like that. I'm the grandparent. And in fact, I'm going to write a blog about it, because we're not saying that grandparents are hurting their children.
No.
But what I want to say to grandparents is, you know, if you can empower, if your grandchild, if you have to ask, then the grandkids are going to have to understand that anybody. And, you know, we need grandparents on board, whereas, you know, they think, but I'm the grandparent, they have to do this. And it's
I have a right.
That's right. And
children have rights.
Yeah.
They have rights about their body and their body space. And that's what we're forgetting, that they have a voice. They have a right. And if that child chooses to give that parent, the grandparent, a kiss or a hug, well, how great is that? I mean, they really want to give you that kiss or the hug. It really is special. But if you're forcing them to do it, then that just says to them that, you know, your voice doesn't matter. Adults can do whatever they like, and you need to give me a hug.
Yeah.
Well, we know how that ends with sexual abuse, you know, that adults are always right. You have to do what the big person says.
Exactly.
It's a very dangerous message, actually.
So, you know, you say that there are still other ways, like a high five. You can still show respect. We're not saying don't respect people.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to empower children. So, you know, I want to write this blog encouraging and inviting grandparents along to join us in this crusade that we have, because, you know, consent is so important. And I know you've written a book about consent. So at the top of this or the bottom of this, wherever I put it, I'll put a link to your website, because it has all of your books on it. And you have got ones about feelings and worries and consent and lots of other things. But I just want to go over this last one.
Yes.
My body, what I say is goes. When I do parent workshops and we take all the books along, parents will come up and say, I'm going to buy one book. What book? And we've got a table full. What book shall we buy? I always encourage them to get this one, because you get 2 for the price of 1.
That's true.
But also what I love about it is it covers most of, you know, protective education in the one book.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you do too. I encourage people just to read a couple of pages a night. Don't read it, you know, from cover to cover, but really, again, unpack it with children. And then, you know, you so cleverly wrote this activity book to go with it. So A, it's great value, but B, just this one book gives parents, you know, a really great diving board into a topic that they really wouldn't do. So
I mean, if every child had that book read to them, I think we would have a lot less children knowing, you know, survivors of sexual abuse. Like just recently, someone said to me, you know, if that book had been read to me as a child, I would have told someone. I would have told them, and I would have, this abuse would have stopped. And, you know, that's a very powerful message, actually. So, and in fact, that book is the one that, you know, I'll tell you this favourite bit of mine, that I gifted to World Vision India. And
Yeah.
so it is now in 10 Indian languages, because I felt it was the most powerful book to give to them. And it's in 10 Indian languages. They've printed over 1 million copies, and they've trained 1,000 teachers in using that book. So if there was one book like you, Holly Ann, that I would like every child to read, it would be that one.
Yeah, yeah. No, congratulations on all of your books.
And yours too.
But, and you know, we both agree that books are the best way, because A, you're not face to face with your child, you're side by side or snuggle down or whatever. Yeah. But if you don't know the words, just read our words, because, you know, we're both so experienced in working with children and getting the message across at age appropriate levels that you can't mess it up. No. We've given you the scripts. So, you know, books, whether it's for sex education or protective education or whatever it is, books, I think, are the best springboard, so that, you know, how do you bring up a subject? Oh, well, if you're reading a book, it's brought up for you. So would you agree?
Absolutely. It's the best vehicle. You know, kids are visual learners, so they, you know, they relate to stories. They enjoy the whole process of a story, sitting, as you said, close, snuggle, but beside someone they really care about. You know, visually, you can, they like the picture, so you can unpack that. You can talk about the words. What's that mean, and what's that mean for you? You can bring them into the book, into the conversation, and help them talk about their own feelings and worries and anxieties or joys. So yeah, books are really good.
And like myself, you always, in the backs of your books, always have, you know, questions related to the pages and information for parents as well. So it's not just they're not just children's books, they're actually teaching tools, really.
Yeah, they really are.
To be able to you know, give people the tools so that they can, like I said before, they can get it right just by you know, spending a few dollars. It doesn't have to be scary. And sometimes I find adults overthink things, but children, you give them a rule, that's the rule. If anybody breaks the rule, heaven help them. So you know, I have parents in workshops going, oh, but what about this and what about this, going, yeah, but you've had your 30 or 40 years of experience. A 6-year-old doesn't think like that. And we know how 6-year-olds think, because we spend so much time with them. Because, you know, I admitted to say that you are actually a teacher as well as an author. So, you know, we know how to get the message across at an age appropriate level without frightening them. Yeah. And you've done it so brilliantly.
Oh, thank you, Holly. And you.
So, Jay, is there any last message for everybody that you'd like to leave people with before we go?
I think the only, you know, Holly Ann, you and I have been working in this space for a long time, and it's our passion. We want to protect children from sexual abuse, and we use whatever tools we have and skills we have to do that, to help get the message across. So what I would like to say is, parents and teachers, please come on board with us and work with us to get this message to protect children. And if you're fearful of this topic, please don't be, because the fact that you teach this topic to children will only empower them. And hopefully, if anything does happen, it's a bit like wearing a seatbelt. If anything does happen, hopefully it won't, they will have some skills to know what to do in that situation when you're not there. So put your fears aside. It's okay. This topic is okay to talk about in an age-appropriate way, but the benefits are so great, because children will have those skills in order to be able to protect themselves or a friend, for that matter, because often kids will tell their friends that they've been sexually abused. So to go to the safe adult, to go and tell straight away. So that would be my message.
Well, very, very strong message. Thank you for that. And, you know, I'm really clear when I'm doing training, this is not a magic wand.
No.
Bad things may still happen to children, but we can give them the skills to tell us sooner. And that's what we need. We need, you know, we're both about trying to create open conversations with parents and children and teachers and children. And, you know, communication is, and it has to be a whole of community approach to keep kids safe. We're not expecting kids to keep themselves safe.
No.
But we can give them the skills, like you said, to perhaps protect other kids or give them good information.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I look forward to, I know you're not allowed to write any books at the moment, but it was a thrill to be able to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Holly. Bye.
Bye.